Hi, everyone. I'm Dave.
I'm Shiraz.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kate.
And this is Writing Center Chat. So this week, we're going to be talking about favorite revision techniques that we use when we're working on our own writing. One that I really love, and I do this pretty late in the process, is I will take the whole piece of writing that I have and I leave the introduction alone because I think those paragraphs can work a little differently. But for all the body paragraphs, I save as a new document so I don't accidentally lose anything, and I delete everything except the first sentence and the last sentence. And then I go through those little mini 2-sentence paragraphs and I just see if I can tell what the purpose of the paragraph is and if the sentence actually communicates it in the way I had intended. And it reveals really quickly if I haven't signaled well enough to someone who is outside of my head what the point of a paragraph is, and then I sort of like fix those transitional sentences to make them more clear.
So sometimes when you're working on a project, you have to condense it down to a certain word count, or you're trying to just kind of avoid being wordy in some places. So one of the things I use is I'll take 3 colors of highlighters and I will highlight everything that definitely needs to stay, things that definitely need to go, and things that are maybes. And then I'll go back through and figure out which ones of those maybes I should keep.
Okay, so I too am a fan of like using highlighters as editorial tools. I do this fairly early in the editing process, usually like my first global edit of a long piece. I print everything out single-sided and lay it out in rows, usually of 5, face up, so I can actually like walk into my paper. And then I use like a whole collection of different highlighters, which is right here, to mark like ideas or like theoretical lenses, argument of like specific kinds of arguments, to see if they map out and flow together. And if I find that like I've talked about, I don't know, some sort of like character study on page 10, and then it shows up again on totally out of the blue on page like 22, I know that maybe I kind of got on a tangent somewhere, and that maybe these paragraphs should be closer together, or if they don't, they're kind of like my structure's kind of fallen apart and dissembled. So that's my highlighter technique, and I really like being able to like stand above my work and see it all laid out in front of me like a map.
I like to use the comment feature of Word or whatever your word processing preferred app is, and I write comments to myself sometimes in the drafting process as I'm writing, and sometimes as I'm going back through and reviewing the paper, and I think about what a reviewer might say. So I'll write comments to myself like, does this really show what the argument needs it to show? Or does this paragraph really fit well here? Would it fit better somewhere else? And sometimes I'll write notes to myself about like extra content I want to add in that I'm not sure about yet. And I like it because it keeps the comments separate from the text, and it keeps things nicely organized, but it also keeps a critical eye on the paper so that the argument can be as strong as it needs to be. And if you find these tips are useful, that's great. You can find more on our website. You can also join us for companionable writing many weekdays, almost every weekday. Find out more at our website.
And our website is cuny.is/writing center. Take care.
Bye, everyone.